It's time for us to get into our rankings. It's been a while since we got into our PC rankings. Top 10 front offices in the NBA currently. Fellas, let's talk this
Over the
through.
last 10
We got
years.
about over the last 10 years. And we got about 20 minutes to get through this list. So let's try to be thorough, but let's also try to be sincere and honest based on what we're seeing. Let me go around the room.
Ron, we're doing 10 years? I thought it was like the last 5 years.
Well, it's really currently, but just based off, like, we can't just say, like, it's hard for front offices because we can look at a team or look at a player and say, oh, we've seen what you've done for the last 15, 20, 30 games or over the season and say you're better than him. For front offices, we kind of have to look back at their track record in order to get to like where we are right now. You know what I'm saying? So you can really go back to how far you want to. I'm doing 10 years. You could do 5 years. You could do 2 years. You could do the last 20 years. Or you could do however long a GM's been there. You could kind of gauge it based on what you want to gauge it for. However, who is number one in you guys' list?
OKC, obviously.
Is this obvious?
I'm actually going to say San Antonio.
They're number 2 for me.
They're the top 3, I think.
San Antonio, OKC, and what was the other team?
Boston.
Boston deserves a ton of credit too. Yeah.
It's easy to look like a great front office when you get given Wemby.
No, they weren't given Wemby, dude. They positioned themselves for Wemby for years.
Yeah, and they got Wemby.
How many years
if they didn't have Wemby? Yeah, they
Wemby?
didn't have Wemby. They look like some mids. But shout out to them. Man.
Hey man,
Well, that's part of it though, Mars. You
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know
Great front office.
I want to know like how many years did it take them to position themselves to get Wemby?
And by
like when
you have access. You have access to the internet. You can probably figure out when they were trading Thaddeus Young. You could figure out when they were trading Jakob Poeltl. You could figure out when they were trading all these guys. You could see Derek White going out. You could see how they were positioning. They identified this guy because Tony Parker is very close to that front office, and he told them about this guy when he was 16 years old. And they were like, "Yo, there's your next franchise player. Go get him." And then the league said, "Bet." So yeah, and they haven't rushed the process with Wemby. They extracted very, very high prices for most of their players. They got multiple first-round picks for Derek White, multiple first-round picks for DeJounte, multiple first-round picks for Kawhi. Granted, that's the one trade I would argue they probably lost, but they had no leverage in that situation. He was walking. He didn't want to sign back. Fine. They got multiple picks back for Jakob Poeltl, including a lottery pick. Like, they extracted full value. They tanked at the right times, and then they stayed there long enough, and then they hit all their draft picks. Wemby, Dylan Harper, Steph Castle, Carter Bryant. Yo, Malachi Branham, Josh Primo, Jeremy Sohan. Those are miss. Okay, Keldon Johnson's a hit though. Devin Vassell's a hit though. So if you tell me that you had 8 first-round picks and you hit on 5 of them and you nailed the 2 to 3 most important ones, I'm giving you full grades for that. OKC, the reason I don't have the number 1 is because I feel like they've benefited so much from the stupidity of the Clippers. It's almost like their success is an indictment of the Clippers being so dumb. And Kawhi basically holding the Clippers asses to the fire, basically, and saying, you got to make this deal, and OKC just being the beneficiary because they happen to have Paul George at the time.
Capitalizing off of somebody else's ignorance.
I wouldn't say ignorance. I would say impulsivity, because in the off season of 2019, you couldn't turn down the ability to pair Kawhi Leonard with Paul George. Like the season that those two were coming off of, I totally get it. I understand it. But that being said, OKC benefited from, the Clippers' desperation. The Clippers were desperate.
Okay, are we voting or how do we do it, Ron?
Yeah, I'm gonna get everybody's pick. So, Penn, who do you have? Best
Spurs.
front office. Spurs. All right, Mars, who you rocking with?
KC.
Big Ox, who you got?
OKC.
Swiper, who do you think is the best front office?
I'll take Spurs because they actually had to rebuild from the DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge era, and I think they obviously got Wemby. But before that, they also were accumulating assets and talent. That SGA trade obviously swings a lot. But you asked, Dub at 12 was a good trade. But did they have 10 or 12 Mars when they made that? Did they move down or up? Do you remember?
No, they had. I don't
They
think
took
they
Usman
moved.
Jennings.
They moved down with the Case on Wallace trade, not the Jada
Case
trade.
Wallace trade, yes, and that was that the one Derek Lively?
Derek Lively.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
they had the picks that got Usman Jeng and Jada
Yeah.
in 22
Yeah.
alongside the Chet draft as well.
But then outside of that too, we're looking at Topic and them haven't worked out. They had some picks before that didn't work. I know.
Testicular cancer, bro.
I know, but like he was also
some
injured. Oh, he was
empathy.
injured. He was injured.
He was injured. He had, but I also think that's part of the OKC strategy because they can't play all these guys right away. That's why they drafted Thomas Sorber as well.
Yeah.
It's like you can get these guys with
They
lower
drafted a
picks
guy
because
knowing
they're
that he
hurt.
had testicular cancer.
No, the ACL.
Ah, yes. Well, obviously,
they expected Topic to play it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They expected Topic to miss year one and then play year two because they probably didn't have a spot for him to play in year one anyway. So get someone who has top 5 like draft potential, but who slides down because of injury, and you get them like for cheaper, and it looks like a great draft pick. They did this. I'm pretty sure they did the same thing with Thomas Sorber. They probably knew he weren't going to play year one, but the moment he's ready to play, we can now get off Isaiah Hartenstein's contract.
I mean, but yeah, how and to the chat's question, Ron, how far back are we going? Because if Boston's included from 15 on, then they're at the top of the list. If in Denver, obviously from 14 on. So how far back are we going?
Why is Boston number one if they're 2016? It's 10 years, 2016 to 2026. Why is Boston number one?
Once again, it's as far back as you want to go. So you can go to, because we're ranking them currently, but once again, you can't just like look at. It's hard to look at what a front office has done the past 2 years and say that this is a top 5 front office. You have to be able to see.
It's also worth noting these front offices have changed.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the Wizards have a new front office, and I like what the Wizards got going on right now.
Denver,
yeah. But
can I convince you, Ron? Can I sway you for Boston if you include the JB pick, the JT trade, the Kristaps pickup for nothing from Washington, the Al Horford swap for nothing that they got, the Derek White swap they got for nothing. It was a first round pick in 22 and
Romeo Langford.
And no, what was
it was Romeo Langford.
No, it was the other dude. It was the other dude.
It was Romeo Langford. I know it was Romeo Langford.
Nah, I'm saying they
started with Neesmith.
Let me check because I'm saying that with confidence, and if I'm wrong,
no, it was the shooter, Mars. He was a 2 guard. He was a 2 guard. It wasn't.
I'm 88% sure.
It could be. I might be thinking about the Jimmy Butler trade for which old boy was included in that one. What was his name? The shooter, bro.
You talking about Josh Richardson?
Yeah, Josh Richardson. Yeah.
So Josh Richardson was also in the deal, but Romeo Langford was the player. There we go. Okay.
So if you add that together, it might be Boston, bro.
Swiper, you don't have to convince me. Yeah. I got Boston. When you look at for a front office, I look at 4 different pillars. One is drafting. They have been phenomenal at drafting, all the way back to Jaylen Brown. Mm-hmm. 2 is building a competent roster and being competitive. Boston has not been trash over the last 10 years. They went from the Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder experiment. They transitioned into Jaylen Brown, Isaiah Thomas, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving.
Well, they turned Isaiah Thomas into Kyrie in them. Yeah.
Yeah, so like they've went to Hayward, they've went to signed Hayward, so they've went through a bunch of different experiences and been competitive. Free agency. They've hit in free agency. They got Gordon Hayward. They've got a couple other smaller free agents that they've signed and stuff like that. So you got trading, you got free agency, you got drafting, and on top of that, they've been able to manage money too. Get good contracts.
I think they got to be one. They got out of the second apron, and then they're fully underneath the second apron now, and they're still top 3 in the Eastern Conference, including.
I got the Celtics. Like they clearly know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah,
you got
it's interesting because they've gone from Danny Ainge to Brad Stevens. And like one could argue they've both been amazing.
Yeah, they've both absolutely been amazing.
I would say third. Yeah, I would have them second.
And if we keep going back, man, they dumped Paul Pierce and KG and them for the assets they ended up getting them all the other players they got.
13, right?
13?
I can't give you credit for. Like I can't give you credit for hitting an average on a second or third overall pick. I can take credit away for you picking Marvin Bagley.
I mean, they swindled Tatum their way though. You know what I mean?
They did. When the Spurs get Wemby, it was they've been plotting.
But hold on, Wemby is going to massively outproduce if he stays healthy, the average value of a first overall.
And the Kings could have got the number 1 pick, and they would have been, oh, what a great front office. They got Wemby. Like, Wemby was gonna be Wemby. Like,
dude, strategically,
you don't get credit for like.
No, you definitely do, Mars.
But remember,
oh look, you drafted LeBron.
Okay. Mars, you got to remember though. Wemby was born. Wemby was born at what 2004, 2004.
Yeah.
Was he 22 now?
You got to remember he was born in 2004, and what's his name?
Tony Parker told them
in 2004 that look, this baby was just born in France. He's gonna be the best ever. Let's start plotting to get him.
Exactly. He was born 3'6". Everyone was like,
exactly. He was like, look, we got.
That's why they had Boris Diaw in 2014. They was trying to show him like, hey, look, this is what these Frenchmen do over here. They the rhyme was on the wall. Like, if anything, I'm giving Boston more credit.
You still have to win the lottery.
I'm giving Boston more credit for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Well, of course, yeah.
I'm just playing.
They literally fooled the Sixers. Like they fooled the
Sixers.
Like
Jaylen Brown. Like I don't know if people remember. Jaylen Brown was seen as a reach at number 3.
Here's the
he was so raw.
Jaylen Brown was nasty.
And then Jason Tatum. Like Boston had the number 1 pick, traded down to 3, and got the best player in the draft. Like that's way more impressive than winning the lottery and getting the prospect that everyone would have taken with their eyes closed.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I think the Jason Tatum three is very insightful because like to know that Fultz was not going to be better than Tatum, they're on the record saying they would have taken Tatum number 1, which would have been hugely bucking the trend because everybody had it was either Fultz or it was either Lonzo Ball. Like you were not picking Tatum number 1.
No,
and now it's like so obvious Tatum should have been number 1, right? And it was only obvious to them. So they were able to swindle extra assets. So that is the one move they get major credits for. They definitely get credit for
the Spurs too. Derek White,
they
got Derek White for nothing. Like literally,
and in your opinion, Derek White is the best player on the Celtics.
Go look what they actually traded Derek White for, please.
A first-round pick, Romeo Langford, Josh Richardson, and another 28 pick that we haven't seen yet.
So 2 first-round picks.
And he's now the best player on their team, right?
He wasn't at the time.
But now he's the best player on their team, right?
This is where we say you playing checkers, I'm playing chess. Okay, sit down, sit in the corner, relax. If they don't trade Derek White, okay, guess who they don't get? Alien Man ain't on the team. That's why I was trying to tell you. They took apart a competent roster in order to tank.
But Boston actually won a championship already, though.
No.
All I said was that Boston did a good thing getting Derek White. That wasn't even about the Spurs.
But what I'm trying to tell y'all is trading Derek White at the time, you can only trade him for what he's worth at the time. They got good value for him at the time. They got good value for Jakob Poeltl
What's this got to do with Boston? What's this got to do with Boston?
You have to
he took Boston over the top though.
At the time. My God.
What did they trade Drew Holiday for?
A different language?
What did they trade Drew Holiday for?
Like, what did they get Drew
Malcolm
Brogdon. Robert Williams and
Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams. Robert Williams is another draft pick they hit on, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all haven't mentioned Marcus Smart either, because a lot of people was low on Marcus Smart coming out of Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm. Marcus Smart is what got them Porzingis, and Marcus Smart was also really good for them for a huge amount of years. But even then, like Porzingis was very good for them. But
the only thing Boston missed on, Ron, the literal only thing they missed on in the last 10 years of substance is Aaron Gordon. They absolutely wanted Aaron. No. They were trading for Aaron. They wanted. Aarons. Yeah, they traded Aaron.
Well, Aaron Neesmith just wasn't good.
When he was at the time. He got better with the Pacers. But yeah, if they would have got AG, then they would have been.
Peyton Pritchard in that same draft too. So it's they might have missed on Aaron, but got a 6th man of the year. However, Swiper, are you staying with your initial pick with the Spurs?
No.
You're moving over to the Celtics?
Yeah.
All right, so the Celtics are number 1 on this list. The Boston Celtics, number 1 front office in the NBA. Who is number 2 for you guys?
Mars. If we're going all the way back 10 years, it has to be Denver.
Why the hell would it be Denver?
Think about all the people that didn't got to the draft. Mars and the trades. Mars.
Aaron Gordon trade was huge.
RJ Hampton and Gary Harris in 1 first.
Yeah, but that also means you drafted RJ Hampton.
and traded him on his second year.
But
I'll say to me, what's the most impressive thing outside of Jokic and Murray, and outside of some of the trades you guys have been able to make? To me, it's them two dogs that you got on the wings right now.
Peyton Watson and Christian Brown.
Being able drafting them and developing them.
Getting MPJ at 14 was also huge. Like you did the thing that I said. Like you bet on someone who was an injury risk.
Better than SGA for at least 2.5 years. Like,
oh yeah, but you guys also drafted Moody, and he sucked.
Whoa, no, that was 15. That was 15. And we made.
Oh, that wasn't. Okay,
we got off him. They got off him immediately.
We still taxing.
They remember they got Moody and they got Murray the next year.
You guys drafted Moody. So we're not giving them credit for Jokic, right? Because that was
why.
Moody was off Jokic. What? So you don't. So they don't get.
Remember, you got to give them credit for Jokic, Nurkic.
Moving off of Nurkic.
Remember, they got off Nurkic.
They were
for Jokic.
Yeah.
Who was that other? You had what's his name? Joffrey Laverne. He was like
Laverne. Yeah, he was a good player.
Shout out to him. I like Joffrey Laverne.
Swiper, are you going with the Nuggets?
It has to be. If we're doing 10 years, it got to be.
I've got OKC
for 10 years.
Even OKC over the last 10 years. So obviously
they lost Kevin Durant for nothing. Knowing
that's right, but that's right after KD left, right? The 10 years.
No, he left in 16.
So KD leaving was the start.
They got D'Lo for KD, right? No, that was
KD wasn't a signing trade. KD just
that was
left.
golden. That was
so KD was the start of the 10 years. That was the first year, right? So then you build your roster around Russ, and that's like whatever. Obviously you're not winning a championship, but you're a competitive playoff team. You then get Paul George, who is a really, really good player. 2019 Paul George. I would argue 2019 Paul George is the third best player to ever play for the Thunder. At the time, obviously now Shea, but at the time, third best player to ever play for OKC. So you have that. You then trade Russ, get good value back for him, get Chris Paul, get Shea, obviously, with the Paul George trade. So you blow up the team. Ends up getting Chris Paul, who's a huge for like the leadership, all of that stuff. You get Shea, who ends up being the franchise player going forward.
According to you, Mars,
all of the picks you end up getting,
but according
while
to you,
still being
Mars,
competitive in 2020,
by your own logic, Mars,
and then you're the best team in the league. Right?
By your own logic, Mars, the Nuggets drafted and acquired the better players.
Shea's the best player acquired,
but drafted.
Shea's the best player acquired, right?
Drafted. Well, I count Shea as a draft pick, but I guess he's not. But acquired.
Okay, and then the best player drafted is who in the last 10 years? Jamal Murray?
Yoke. It's
no, last 10 years. Jamal
okay,
Murray?
Jamal. Yeah, Jamal.
So we're taking Jamal Murray over the combined of Chet and Jada.
Well, that's not it.
Why?
There's more players. He just said Peyton Watson and Christian Brown.
Yeah, let's be serious. Chet and Jada.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Peyton Watson?
Okay.
Swiper, keep me out of this, bro. I'm not on your side.
Look, fellas, we gotta move along.
I got J-Dub, bro. I've got
OKC. I've got OKC. That's my pick at number 2.
But I got the Nuggets at like 4 though.
Yeah,
OKC's fine.
Damian, who do you got right here?
OKC.
You got OKC. All right, the Oklahoma City Thunder are second on this list. So we got the Boston Celtics first, OKC second, third. Who are we rocking with? Hold on, wait. Swiper. Are you going with the Nuggets or the Spurs?
Well, I mean, I just for the second time, I don't think it's worth deliberating all this. I think it has to be the Spurs for the second time.
Everybody has the Spurs.
The Clippers?
No, but it has to be the Spurs for the sake of time. So,
Clippers?
For the sake of sanity, bro.
Swiper, chill.
Somebody said the Peyton Watson hype got to stop, bro. He just started.
The Lakers had the best trade.
The Lakers had the best free agent pickup, right?
Absolutely.
The Lakers got the best player in the world in free agency. They then got Anthony Davis for Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram.
Oh shit!
Because of LeBron.
Josh Hart. Cool. Who they acquired in free agency.
This should be a LeBron stat then.
Yeah, sure, cool, whatever. They also then got Luka Doncic.
Like,
I mean,
they picked up the phone and screwed up.
There's so little attention paid to the process of the results, and we're just going on the results. Look, Nico Harrison lost his mind. Okay, the Mavericks ownership did not want to pay him, and so and for whatever reason, the rest of the league was not at all consulted. The Lakers did not.
You know why? Because Rob Pelinka cultivated a relationship with Nico Harrison that allowed Nico Harrison, when he went clinically insane, to only feel comfortable.
It's called Stockholm syndrome, Ron.
So actually,
but that was
that's even more credit for Rob Pelinka, because the fact that he cultivated that relationship led to Nico Harrison talking to no other team but the Lakers about giving them Luka Doncic. That's great front officing.
I had the Lakers at 6,
and
I wasn't
in the corner
thinking about.
And watch me cook you.
I don't think that's how it went down.
I wasn't even thinking about AD and LeBron, and I had the Lakers at 6. So when I remember about AD and LeBron, since we're going that far back, I think the Lakers have to be next behind the Spurs.
Well, they got the best.
But that's not it though. Like let's not forget Austin Reeves as well. Being able to go dig him up as a second round pick,
Bronny,
or undrafted pick. My bad, undrafted pick.
They got Rui Hachimura for 2 seconds. They just got
Luke Kennard for Gabe Vincent.
Yeah.
They got Zubac. Oh, they traded Zubac away for nothing, even though that was dumb. They got Jared Vanderbilt for 3 seconds, I believe. Now the Lakers should get docked because of the Kyle Lowry trade. That should dock them a lot. They should get docked for that.
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, because they remember Taylor Horton Tucker. They were like, no, we're not giving him up for Kyle Lowry. And you remember, Penn, was it 20?
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember
that trade supposed to happen.
What was it? Remember when THT was ranked above Shea on like the top 25 under 25? Remember that?
Yep.
THT was ranked above Shea. That's not Laker text.
We don't got to get into that.
Man, Denver played you the day before the trade deadline, and in Toronto, and Toronto mopped Denver by 30 because everybody thought that was the Kyle Lowry's last game with the Raptors, and then he ended up staying anyway. I couldn't believe my eyes.
I got the Lakers, Ron. That's where my vote is.
All right, Ox got the Lakers. Swiper, where you at? You got the Lakers or the Nuggets?
Oh, Nuggets. I mean, Nuggets have done a better job than Lakers have. I mean, that's easy.
Dame, where you at with it?
I got the Warriors here. They got the most active championships since 2016.
Yeah, how far are we going back?
If you're going back 10, because the new front office sucks. So I guess
the new front office is terrible, but I'm gonna give them some credit for.
You mess up a top 2 pick. You mess up a top 7 pick. Mess up. You lose right there.
Kuminga, Moody, and Hassan and
Wiseman.
What was so Kuminga was he 7th?
7.
Moody was
right
8.
They still got the most active
14.
championships.
No, Moody was 14, but
14.
Franz was right behind Kuminga, and Şengün was right behind Moody. So was Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy probably made more sense for
and LaMelo was right behind James Wiseman. So like, I mean, and these were like, at least with Jalen Johnson and Alperen Şengün, these were at least guys who were considered in the same range as the prospects. It's one thing to say, oh, you should have picked Pascal Siakam number 3. No, you shouldn't have, because he was supposed to be a second round pick. But when a player is right in that range and right in your need set and you don't pick them, I got to dock you.
I'm kind of doing current Warriors front office. I'm not about to put the Warriors top 5 because their old front office was competent, because that's not their front office, right?
Draymond and Steph were all drafted.
Yeah, but I'm not about to go back to the Timberwolves prior to having Tim Connolly and be like, oh well, they suck. Like, I'm not about to do that. That's a different front office. I'm following 10 years.
I think the most.
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just using that as an example. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, the Wizards front office sucks when their new front office has actually been good. Just because we're going back 10 years, it's a different front office. Some team, we can go back 10 years, but if you weren't drafted yet, what am I talking about your career for? I don't.
All right, so Penn, who are you rocking with?
Okay. For number 4?
Yeah, I do my own thing all the time.
We have OKC out.
I'm a free spirit.
I'm gonna say Toronto. Screw it.
Over Denver.
Yeah, just because you're here.
I got Indiana.
If you weren't here, I would
Indiana.
say
Indiana.
I like the Indiana pick.
I got Indiana.
Swiper, I'm rocking with you. I'm going with the Nuggets, and ultimately the Nuggets will be number 4 on this list.
I got Indiana till they make it, which they might not ever make it, so I might not have to contribute.
We're only gonna do top 5. Just do the time. We don't have enough.
Okay, well, I got Indiana.
Whoa! Let's think about this list. You don't just rush through stuff, Mars. Hold on.
No, I thought about it.
No, you haven't. No, the Heat deserve talks right here.
I'm good. I got Indiana.
Absolutely do.
The Knicks deserve. The Leon Rose Knicks absolutely deserve talks right here.
Sure.
They traded for Cat. They got Brunson in for off the market because they knew what he was. They got OG, then they got Mikal. They had Dante.
But the team that drafted OG gets no credit.
Toronto as well.
Who?
The team that
got
drafted
Bojan.
OG doesn't get nothing. Yeah. The team that drafted Pascal, drafted OG, drafted Norm.
Okay, but they wasted all those players. They kept them for too long.
What did you guys trade? What did you guys trade Pascal
recently,
for?
Houston
Bruce
have
Brown?
done well as well.
Whoa,
yeah, Bruce Brown.
No. Once again, checkers, not chess. Go sit in the corner again. We traded for Brandon Ingram and Jacoby Walter.
Oh, long-term thinking. Okay.
That's nothing.
Houston have been good recently. Well,
Brandon Ingram
is nothing.
Jacoby Walter is nothing.
No.
Brandon Ingram is their best player. Swipe, what are you talking about?
Jacoby is
double rage bait. Which one do you address, man?
Panel, everybody, order in the courtroom. Pin. I actually do want to get through the top 10 list because it is a lot of teams here. And I just want to kind of sort it out. So look, we're just going to go rapid fire. Who you got is who you got. Pin, you've made your point for Toronto. We've made our point for the Miami Heat. We know who these teams are. We know what the Knicks have done. I actually do want to see where everything can rank out. So let's just run through these next 6 picks, and then we can come back and re-talk about it. However, as of right now, let me go ahead and put this on the screen. This is what we got. Let's see if we can get through 10. At 5, Big Ox, who do you have? Do you still have the Lakers?
I have the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, I do.
Okay. I have the Lakers as well. Pin, you still have the Raptors?
Yeah, of course.
Mars, you still have the Pacers? Damian, you still have the Warriors?
No, if we're not going 10 years, I'll do the Nuggets.
Nuggets
on the list.
Yeah.
Give me Indiana as well, actually.
Pacers, okay. Swiper, where you at?
Man, this winning bias thing is disgusting.
Winning bias? Indiana ain't win a championship.
I'm trying to think. Indiana's in there.
Don't forget Cleveland, y'all.
I haven't.
Man, Phoenix. Hey, y'all, Phoenix should be up here too. Y'all hating on Phoenix.
Bradley Beal alone. Bradley Beal alone disqualified.
Swiper, hey, we gotta get through this list, Swiper. Who do you have?
Man, put the Miami Heat here. They're way more successful in the last whatever years than the Lakers are.
I'm really not mad at the
Heat. They've had like 10 coaches since 2009. Mars, wake up.
Check this out. We don't have time to run a poll. So we have 2 votes for the Pacers, 2 votes for the Lakers. Pin and Swiper, you two are the 2 that didn't vote for the Lakers or the Pacers. I'm gonna allow you guys the opportunity to pick between these 2 teams.
I guess the Pacers, even though there's no logic behind it. So, whatever.
He just hates the Lakers.
Oh, okay.
Pin, who you got?
What are the Pacers done, Mars?
I abstain.
The Pacers have been one of the
Pacers got
proponents of not only Moneyball but maximizing their roster with cheaper salaries, so they're never in the aprons at all, because they maximize skill sets instead of just overpaying people. So when they trade Domantas Sabonis for Tyrese Halliburton, who most people, understandably so, said Domantas Sabonis was a better player, but Tyrese Halliburton made more sense financially, buying low on guys like Obi Toppin, Aaron Nesmith of the world, who had skill sets that were deemed valuable for what they were trying to implement, despite probably not maintaining or having similar value elsewhere. So I think what I'm most impressed by with the Pacers, also Rick Carlisle's been a great pickup for them. What I'm most impressed by with the Pacers is that their philosophy of signing and drafting players is based not on like overall ability, but just based on their strengths that help their system. Because when you're a small market team, unlike the Lakers, you don't have the luxury of we can go get Anthony Davis or we can go get LeBron in free agency. So you have to maximize on the margins. And I think no team's done that as well as the Pacers have, which is why they've been competitive for the large part of the last 10 years with different iterations, with Oladipo, with Sabonis. They had their few tanking years in like the early 2020s, like 2022, 2023. But then right after that, back-to-back conference finals appearances or finals appearance. And then this year with Halliburton being injured, they even did the same thing with Zoo, being able to get Zoo. So you're building again for next year. That's another pick. That's another I think is going to show dividends, or at least is a move in the right direction. Even if it doesn't work out, it's just the philosophy behind things. I think they make a lot of good decisions, and they don't make a lot of rash decisions. Like even getting Pascal for the price that they got Pascal for, like that's a great investment. So yeah, I think
they paid nothing for Pascal. I think
they make good decisions.
Picks is not nothing.
Nothing. For
I think they make good decisions. Yeah.
415 wins for the Pacers over the last 10 years, including playoffs. 415. Keep that number in mind.
How many?
All right, fellas.
How many is that averaging a year, Penn?
How many did Toronto have, Penn? Because that's what he's trying to get to. How many did Toronto?
Did you just ask how many 415 is across 10?
Yeah.
It's 41.5. How many did Toronto have? Penn.
The Toronto Raptors have. That's a good question.
Technically, it's actually not 41.5.
All right, look, while he's looking that up, fellas, we moving on to the next pick. All right, so 49 wins over 10
less than 500.
49.
All right, here's how we rocking, fellas. Ox, are you staying with the Lakers?
Yeah.
Penn, are you staying with the Raptors?
Yes. Until
Swiper, are you staying with the Miami Heat?
Yeah.
All right, Damian and Mars, who do you guys have next?
I got the Lakers.
I'm very tempted to say Utah.
Lakers.
Do you grade on a bar for giant markets like this?
I'm not.
I just picked
Lakers. Absolutely not.
But, I mean, LeBron and AD that's kind of a heavyweight.
You're gonna say Toronto,
drafting Caruso, getting Reeves. That's a big deal.
All right. So next up on the list is the Lakers. The Lakers are taking. Hold on, let me put it up. The Lakers have the number 6 spot on this list.
Oh my God.
At number 7, Penn, are you staying with the Raptors?
Just stop asking me, man.
Even over the Timberwolves?
This is embarrassing.
Think about it, Mars.
Embarrassing.
Timberwolves, they rebuilt from the Andrew Wiggins days to the Jimmy Butler / Carl Anthony Towns.
We gotta.
You're telling me two different front offices.
You don't even have the Timberwolves right now. You got the Heat. All right, so Mars, me, you, and Ox picked the Lakers. Who are we repicking? Dame, you're staying with the Raptors, I'm assuming. Swiper, you're staying with the Heat, I'm assuming. Penn, you probably want to go with the Wolves because Swiper has mind control over you. But Mars, Ox, who you guys rocking with?
I like the Knicks and Miami, honestly. The Knicks have done a good job of turning around their franchise.
Sucks now.
But Miami's consistency.
Another team that hasn't won a championship. Oh my God. Okay.
I mean, y'all got gifted Kawhi. I mean,
no, we traded. We traded for Kawhi. We took a calculator.
They got gifted. When did they get
traded?
Literally, the definition of gifted.
We blew up.
San Antonio didn't want to trade him where he wanted to go. That's why you got him.
This is the dumbass.
You got
gifted Kawhi by the fact that you guys were in a different country.
Yeah,
out of spite. Y'all got him out of
spite.
spite.
They wanted to throw Kawhi to the Wolves.
We were on pace for more wins the year after he left.
That was punishment.
And the only reason you won the championship is because of Kawhi.
He went there on timeout.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody in their mind knew, oh, wow, they really messed up Kawhi's career. That was the whole narrative at the time. They threw him to Toronto, who was a lifeless, winless bum franchise that was getting dogged down by LeBron every year, and then Kawhi went over there and saved you.
Actually, really dumb. If you don't understand that 2013 to 2021, the Raptors were a good team.
They weren't. They were a good regular season team, and they got dogged every year.
Now you're trolling.
LeBronto for a reason. LeBronto. Every time DeMar DeRozan saw LeBron,
I got the Bulls, man. I after the top 5, I ran out of teams. I don't know. I got the Bulls.
I haven't slept enough for this much rage bait. There's too much stupidity.
As of right now, Penn, you can relax. As of right now, I know they're not as high as you want them to be, but the Toronto Raptors are number 7 on this list. At number 8, fellas, we got 3 more teams. So we only got 3
How are
teams
they over Miami, Ron?
Because they got voted over Miami.
They got Jimmy Butler. They rebuilt their team 3 times.
So have the Raptors.
They got Jimmy for nothing, and he took them to 2 titles. And they drafted Bam. And they drafted Tyler Hero. And they drafted Duncan Robinson.
We drafted Khalil Ware, Norm, OG, Scotty.
And your team wasn't doing anything. You haven't been relevant since Kawhi left.
Man, I can't wait to smack your
swipe.
Portland.
I can't wait for the Raptors to beat the crap out of the fucking Denver Nuggets, bro.
All right, on this list, who are we rocking with? We have the Celtics 1, OKC Thunder 2, San Antonio Spurs 3, Denver Nuggets 4, Indiana Pacers 5, Los Angeles Lakers 6, Toronto Raptors 7, Miami Heat 8, New York Knicks 9. At number 10, fellas, who are we rocking with?
It's between Cleveland and Portland for me. Oh, and Utah.
It's Washington for me.
Wait. Are we really saying the Phoenix Suns have no love here?
I'm gonna go with Detroit.
They Bradley Beal is just
Detroit's not bad. Detroit's not bad.
I'm gonna go with Detroit.
I think I'm gonna go with Utah. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Utah. I'm going with Utah for sure.
Ever since, yeah.
I know it's recency bias.
I also thought about Utah, but yeah, I go to Wizards.
Cleveland, Utah, and Portland. I'm gonna go with Utah.
I got Cleveland.
The only move the Wizards have made that I haven't liked was when they traded Denny. But everything else, yeah, I think they missed.
Rui? They traded Rui for nothing.
That was different regime.
Because he was garbage.
Different front office. I'm talking about the current Wizards front office. They've only made one move that I think doesn't make sense, and that was Denny.
All right, Ox got Utah. Damian, who you got?
Houston.
Yeah, they had the James Harden era too. Yeah, different regime, whatever.
Houston,
that counts.
How much does Houston lose for picking Jalen Green over?
They don't lose at all. Jalen Green was great.
They really drafted Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm not having this conversation with you over Evan Mobley.
Jalen Green, I wasn't talking to have a conversation with you either.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not. Daryl Morey is in Philly now. That's not part of Houston for me. But Raphael Stone, I think Raphael Stone's done a pretty good job for the most part.
But the Jalen Green pick was Raphael Stone.
Yeah, I think he got that one wrong, but I think for the most part he's been all right.
Pen and Swiper, who you guys got?
I got Detroit. Give me Detroit. It's a major recency bias, but I really like the roster that they built.
Swiper, who you rocking with?
The Wizards essentially traded.
I'm going with the Knicks. I think people since Leon Rose has been there, they've been elite.
The Knicks are on the list, Swiper.
The Wizards essentially traded Kyle Kuzma for Anthony Davis, just so you know.
These are some Mars picked the Wizards, Dame picked the Rockets, Ox picked the Jazz, I picked the Cavaliers, Penn picked the Pistons. So it's literally
I'm going Philly.
No way.
Serious? Philly's front office?
Ben is inconclusive.
They did a great job.
Does Milwaukee get zero?
You can't let him pick the
I think Milwaukee's done a good job. I think the last few years was kind of derailed things, but I think Milwaukee's a good pick.
Yeah, but it's 10 years.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think Milwaukee's a good pick. Still got Washington.
I thought you were going to be on the Charlotte train, Pen.
No, because prior to this year, they've been absolutely horrible. At least the Pistons have had winning seasons in the last 10 years.
All right, well, fellas, that concludes that segment. We all picked the last pick, so we only have 9 because we don't have time to figure out what's going to happen with that 10th pick.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the check throw smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out hit the raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. This that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.